COVID crippled many businesses, there's no doubt. Despite this, last year, over $5 million in direct spending came from the film production sector in Kingston. This at a time when communities were hurting the most. Producer Gail Paquette has more on how the film industry in Kingston was able to bring $2 million alone to area hotels. And that was just the beginning.
Last year, Kingston saw more than $5 million in direct spend into the community from the film sector, proving that the forming of the Kingston Film Office was vital in attracting big studio productions to the city's historical locations.
The Kingston Film Office is now into its fourth year of operations, and yeah, it's been busy days, that's for sure. But one of the things, I've got long ties to the Kingston area. I've done some teaching within the Queen's Film and Media program, and involved with the Kingston Canadian Film Festival from the early days and whatnot, and just would have loved to have based myself here, and just saw so much potential on the filming side. And I think one of the things that really kind of opened up and helped the city and the whole region really recognize that potential was when we had first big production was Guillermo del Toro's Crimson Peak, where they transformed the entire Springer Market Square into late 1800s, and I think that just really showed the huge economic impact of it.
The film sector as a whole is booming across the country, especially in Ontario and BC. Toronto is seeing record levels of production and bursting at the seams. The forming of the Kingston Film Office gave Kingston the opportunity to position itself as a viable film production location.
As there's this huge industry coming in, a lot of it on the US side, we're getting record levels of production with streaming and whatnot. So it's been, how do we actually service that right here in Kingston and kind of getting it through. So because we're that extra step removed, because there hasn't been as much infrastructure, a lot of that, especially in the early days of the film office since getting going, has been like building those systems, those processes, that access, streamlining permits, just kind of connecting it all through, and then helping kind of develop that labor pool, because it's quite expensive to make that move to come and shoot here, but the reason they'll come is for these incredible anchor locations. I mean, Kingston has places, between City Hall, Springer Market Square, that old downtown, the Kingston Penitentiary. These are just locations you can't really find anywhere else in the country, especially in the case of Kingston Penitentiary.
I'd heard it from filmmakers prior to 2018 saying Kingston needs a film office, we need some support systems, we need somebody to sort of steer that ship a little bit, because it wasn't happening. And so now we have somebody to say, well, this is why you should come to Kingston, because we have all these pieces in place. If you want to shoot in a penitentiary, like, we have that. If you want to, just logging all the assets that we have here.
With the attraction of several key historical locations, it is the further goal of the Film Office to have production companies stay longer and shoot broader. The film industry has deep pockets, but also high expectations, which means a lot of the job for the Film Office is making sure the access and infrastructure is there so that it is a seamless experience.
The next really big game changer for us was being able to work with corrections and open up Kingston Penitentiary as a location, to get that location going, to work with the city and getting City Hall and Springer Market Square, where shows like Lock and Key are coming and shooting. So I think like getting the access to those locations, and then it's just been making sure that when productions come in, they really get that gold standard experience, and that's where we've got a great team within the Film Office and within tourism that's able to make sure that these productions have that experience.
Right before COVID, they were able to do a 5-month trial at the Kingston Penitentiary. They saw shows like Netflix Titans, Murdoch Mysteries, and Star Trek Discovery. In 2021, on the heels of COVID, big studio productions like the pilot for Amazon's Reacher and The Mayor of Kingstown, a big Paramount production, brought in millions to the community.
there's a lot of stuff that people don't immediately think about the economic impact. So in that case, it was over $2 million in hotels alone, which is huge, but the employment within the area. So we had about 30 members of the community involved in junior crew roles. So working as location support personnel, COVID compliance, all these different areas. We had more than 150 locals in background performer roles. But then there's, you know, the full gamut of everything from like washroom rentals to electricians replacing all the lights, bulbs, ballasts in the penitentiary, doing all those types of repairs, you know, Herc rentals, massive amounts of like equipment rentals, and it really kind of goes the whole gamut right down to security. So there's so many ways that the productions are spending, and then also having the crews within your community are spending a bunch on the day-to-day.
One of the challenges, because the infrastructure is still being laid, is the expense for production companies bringing in all their own crews and backgrounds. The Kingston Film Office is working on that by building databases of resources to provide that local talent.
Like instead of, you know, all the crew coming in from Toronto or from outside, it's well, no, bring in your keys, but then hire within the community. And so we're doing a few really interesting ones where last summer we did a three-week feature that shot entirely within the Frontenac region, and we had people involved in every department from lighting to camera to performers right the way across.
With the film industry as a whole continuing to grow year after year, and the province of Ontario targeting it as a $5 billion industry, there is potential for a massive amount of economical development in Kingston through the film sector.
We're already seeing on our side, we're able to access more funding to be able to bring in more production, and I think as we continue to kind of cross over, I think there's going to be massive amounts of growth. It's really nice to see Kingston kind of showing up, but it has been a bit of a kept secret about just how much filming there's been going. So it's nice to be seeing that kind of get out there.
For WPBS Weekly, I'm Gail Paquette.